Runway Collision. The night LaGuardia stopped moving news narrative by journalist John L. Farmer, INTRO, a city that never stops. Until it does, my name is John L. Farmer, reporting from the Northeast Corridor. And tonight we're talking about a moment that froze one of the busiest airspaces in America, because in a city where everything moves fast, planes landing every minute, taxis racing across bridges, people chasing time, everything stopped. At LaGuardia Airport, after a collision no one expected. Chapter 1. The moment of impact. It happened on the runway. An Air Canada jet was moving, either taxiing or preparing for departure, when something went terribly wrong. A fire truck, not in the distance, not safely off to the side, on the same runway, and within seconds, metal. A violent collision, the kind that sends shockwaves through the aircraft body, through the ground, through the entire airport system. Chapter 2. The sound that changed everything. Witnesses described it as something unnatural. Not the usual roar of engines, but a sudden crushing impact followed by alarms, radio chatter, and confusion. Inside the aircraft, passengers felt it immediately. A jolt, a sudden stop, silence, followed by panic outside. Emergency crews realized something had gone terribly wrong. Chapter 3. First response in seconds. Here's what people don't understand about airports. They're built for emergencies. Fire crews are already there. Medical teams are already on standby. Protocols exist for almost every scenario. But this was different, because the emergency vehicle was part of the incident. And now, responders had to respond to themselves. Chapter 4. Confusion on the runway. Air traffic control operates on precision. Every movement is tracked. Every vehicle is cleared. Every second matters. So how does a jet and a fire truck end up on the same runway at the same time? That's the question investigators will be asking for months. Was it miscommunication, a systems failure, human error, or something deeper in the chain? Chapter 5. The human cost. 2 lives lost. That's the number reported. But numbers don't tell stories. Those were people. Someone's coworker, someone's family, someone who woke up that morning expecting a normal shift or a normal flight and never made it home. Chapter 6. Inside the aircraft, passengers on board the Air Canada jet experienced something few ever will. The moment when routine travel becomes something else. Seatbelts tightened instinctively, voices raised, phones pulled out. Some people froze. Others prayed. Others just stared, trying to understand what just happened. Because when you're on a plane, you trust the system. And in that moment, that trust was shaken. Chapter 7. The airport shut down immediately after the collision. Operations stopped. Not slowed. Stopped. Flights delayed. Flights canceled. Planes stuck on taxiways. Thousands of passengers suddenly stranded. And in a city like New York, that ripple spreads fast. Missed connections. Canceled meetings. Families stuck in terminals overnight. All because of one moment on one runway. Chapter 8. The domino effect. Air travel is a chain. Break one link, and everything feels it. Flights scheduled out of LaGuardia effect. Chicago, Atlanta, Miami, Los Angeles, even international routes. Because planes don't just sit still. They rotate. They connect. They keep the world moving. And tonight, that movement broke. Chapter 9. The investigation begins. The Federal Aviation Administration and National Transportation Safety Board will now step in. Black boxes will be analyzed. Radio transmissions reviewed. Every second leading up to that collision. Replayed again and again. Because aviation doesn't ignore mistakes. It studies them, so they never happen again. Chapter 10. The questions that matter. Who cleared the runway? Who gave the signal? Was visibility a factor? Was communication delayed? Was protocol followed? Or broken? These aren't just technical questions. They're the difference between safety and tragedy. Chapter 11. The people behind the system. Airports aren't just machines. They're people, controllers, drivers, pilots, ground crews, all working in sync. And when one piece slips, everything is at risk, not because people don't care, but because the margin for error is almost zero. Chapter 12. The weight of responsibility. Imagine being the air traffic controller that night. Imagine hearing the impact over the radio. Imagine realizing something went wrong. On your watch. That's a weight most people will never understand. Chapter 13. Passengers left waiting back inside the terminals. Time slowed down. Screens filled with delays. Announcements repeated. People sat on luggage, checking phones, refreshing apps, trying to find a way out. Because in moments like this, you realize how fragile travel really is. Chapter 14. The media arrives, news cameras lined up. Lights on. Reporters talking fast, trying to keep up with a story still unfolding. Because in real time, facts are limited, details are unclear, and yet the world wants answers immediately. Chapter 15. Safety in modern aviation. Let's be clear about something. Incidents like this are rare. Aviation is still one of the safest forms of travel. But when something does happen, it gets attention because the expectation is perfection. Chapter 16. The runway as a system. A runway isn't just pavement. It's a controlled space. Every entry, every exit, every movement, coordinated. So when two vehicles collide there, it's not random. It's a breakdown in coordination. Chapter 17. The aftermath. On the ground, debris scattered. Lights flashing. Sirens echoing across the tarmac. Crews working to secure the scene, while investigators begin their first assessments. All under the eyes of grounded aircraft waiting in silence. Chapter 18. The city watches. New York noticed. Because LaGuardia isn't just an airport. It's a gateway for business, for tourism, for everyday life. And when it stops, the city feels it. Chapter 19. The global impact. This story didn't stay local. It spread worldwide. Because aviation connects everything. And when something goes wrong in New York, people in London, Toronto, and Tokyo pay attention. Chapter 20. Final reflection. 2 lives lost. Thousands delayed. 1 runway. That became the center of a global story. And as investigations continue, as systems are reviewed, as lessons are learned, we're reminded of something simple, even in the most advanced systems in the world. Everything depends on precision, on communication, on people. OUTRO, a pause in motion. This is John L. Farmer, reporting on a night when one of the busiest airports in America stood still, not because it wanted to, but because something went wrong. And now, the world is watching to understand why.